evening, students. All the centers. Yes, I can see only one center now. Yes, Shillong, good evening. How are you? Yes, Shillong. How are you, children? Good. How was your day at school? Yes, children. Yes. Now I can see you. So how are you? All of you at Shillong Center. Is this your class? What I'm looking at? 8084, is it? Just wave me your hand if this is class 11th Shillong. Okay, wave me your hand, everybody. Yes? No? Oh. Okay, fine. I can see you. Okay. So how are you? How is everybody at Shillong Center? Yes, children. Some seem to be very tired. Some people, they are looking tired. Yes, children. So how are your studies going on? How do you find class 11th? How are your studies going on? Tell me. Yes. Tell me. Hard. Why? What happened? What happened? What is the issue you are facing? What are the issues basically? Okay. Yes, what kind of issues are you facing? Tell me. Since I was also having class 11th first time, science and all those things, I guess I can help you out. Are we connected, Shillong? Yes. So what is hard? What do you find hard? The day is hard, the day is hectic, or you're not having time to manage properly things, or you find the study itself to be hard. What is hard? Good evening, Kohima. How are you? So what is hard? What do you find hard? Yes, I was into a conversation. Since Kohima has just joined us, I will let them know. I was into a conversation with Shillong children and they told me something hard they are facing, something difficult. Okay. Okay. Yes, I understand because it is new to us. I understand this is a very, very common problem with every 11th class student who immediately after 10th enters into 11th. Trust me, this is everybody's problem, not only you. I too had this problem. Okay, I too had this problem. That is, syllabus is very vast. I understand. Class 10th was actually, if you talk about class 10th, it was just about this, and now 11th is just like this. I know this thing. But yes, don't be disappointed. You are not the only one suffering with this thing or facing this issue. But trust me, with constant efforts, with constant study, you have to be regular. The most important thing for you is to be regular. That is, you should go back home and study every day. See, if you are bringing about small things every day, it will turn into a larger thing. Like if you had chemistry class yesterday, you should have all the revision of that class, whatever sir taught you yesterday, and then you should go to the next day's class. That is what is basically required. A pre-study timetable should be made by you so that you are ready for the next class. Like if suppose I'm talking about breathing exchange of gases. Okay, so we had 2 classes for this. So what your idea should be till now is that you should have covered the 2 classes. Yes, St. Joseph, good evening. So we should have been covered the 2 classes, and we should be up with doubts in the next class. So if you are following a regular pattern, every day you are studying, every day going back home, you are studying, every day you are going back home, you are studying. So this will help you a lot, isn't it? So I know this is a problem. This is very a problem with every child whosoever comes into 11. This is a problem with commerce children also. This is a problem with humanities children also. So whatever section you are taking, the studies are going vast and vast. Okay, everything will actually form new and new complexity levels. So that is also difficult. Don't have this particular idea that yes, commerce and humanities are very easy. They are not. Because whatever you have studied in 10th, that was very basic. It was just a kind of exposure that this is the ABCD. Now you are learning to make words from that ABCD, cat, bat, rat. Okay, so you have to put in constant effort. I know it's difficult. You don't have managed time management properly. But yes, trust me, with regular efforts, you will be able to overcome these problems. Okay, so please try and be regular. That is the key point of everything. All successful people, they're always regular. So be regular. Okay. So let me know what I was talking about in the last class. Okay, I have one more center logged in. Which center is it? Apart from Shillong, St. Joseph and Kohima. New center logged in. Yes, good evening Churachandpur. How are you doing? Yes, Churachandpur children, how are you? Good? So it's hectic day, I know. Immediately after school, you need to rush to your centers to study, and then you again go back, have little refreshment, and again you have to study. So I know these things are difficult, but trust me, things will not be difficult if you are regular. And obviously, this is what is the building block. Okay, if you are like having a good foundation, then only your career will be having a boost. So whatever you are studying now is going to be very important in your upcoming future, upcoming career. So it's like 12th or after 12th career, everything depends on how you're performing in 11th and 12th. So be very serious about all these things. Please, okay, just let us know in case of any problems. Any of our teachers, you have I guess 2 teachers from biology. Okay, you can tell us, you can tell chemistry teacher, you can tell your physics teacher, whomsoever you are comfortable with, or whatever subject you are having difficulty in. You can just let us know your common problems also, whether it is time management, whether it is like you get tired, okay, what to have, what to eat, we can suggest you. What to eat and what not to eat. All those things also we can tell you. Okay, so let's start the class. We have lot many centers, all of you. This is a common advice for everybody. Just let us know whatever problems you are into. Okay, just speak up. You have WhatsApp group. You can talk to us on those groups. It's nothing personal. There is nothing, no problem. You can just communicate to us on those groups. Okay, or in the class also, whatever you feel like. Okay, fine. So we were talking about breathing and exchange of gases in the last class. I'm going to continue the topic. So I guess we completed with the breathing exchange of gases and oxygen transport section. Am I correct? Just let me know. Oxygen transport part was done. I told you 2 ways in which oxygen can be transported. First was dissolved in plasma, and the second was in the form of oxyhemoglobin. Did I teach you that? Just let me know, Shillong. Just give me a thumbs up if I taught you that. Yes, children, Shillong. Since I can see only Shillong, so it's faster mode of communication. Yes, okay, fine. So a quick revision for those people who were absent in the last class. I'm talking about oxygen transport. I was talking about oxygen transport, and oxygen was transported by 2 means. So I'm talking about transport of oxygen here. Talking about transport of oxygen over here. And when I'm talking about transport of oxygen, I will be talking about the first form would be dissolved in plasma. and second form would be in the form of bicarbonate. I'm sorry, in the form of oxyhemoglobin. Very sorry. As so, what percentage was transported by dissolved in plasma? Who's going to tell me? Let me see which center is first to respond. How much percentage is carried dissolved in plasma? Quick. St. Joseph, Shillong, Kohima, Churachandpur. Quick. Quickly tell me. Yes. Good, Shillong. Come on. Who is going to be second? Quickly tell me. Kohima children. Yes, Kohima. You were there in the last class, I remember. St. Joseph, I guess this is your first class with me, is it? I guess this is first class with me. Yes, St. Joseph? Is this your first class with me? Oh. Then please refer to this revision section now. We will be moving ahead with this chapter today. Okay? Just refer to this particular section. So what is the main motive? Like I will give you the main summary of this chapter. The main summary of this chapter is that you are breathing. Okay? You are just taking into gases, you are removing out gases. So what kind of gases? Obviously, I am interested in oxygen and carbon dioxide. Now I am interested in how my oxygen from my lungs reaches into the tissues and how the next procedures happen. So my oxygen from the alveoli will be transported into the tissues by two basic forms. How? It will be either by dissolving them in plasma, that is plasma will carry some of the oxygen, they will dissolve it and they will carry it. And it will be carried by oxyhemoglobin. So if it's 3% over here, this would be 97%. So if I am giving you, for example, 100 molecules of oxygen, 3 molecules you will dissolve in plasma and transport to your tissues, and 97 molecules you will bind with hemoglobin. Now oxyhemoglobin. What is oxyhemoglobin? Let's quickly see what is oxyhemoglobin. Okay. So oxyhemoglobin is a particular molecule which is formed by binding of your oxygen, that is O2, with hemoglobin. So if you are binding your hemoglobin with oxygen, what you are going to get? You are going to get oxyhemoglobin. So who is going to tell me how many oxygen can bind to one hemoglobin? Who is going to tell me? Yes. Kohima, Shillong, since St. Joseph has its first class, we are going to help them out. Yes. How many oxygen is going to bind to one hemoglobin? How many oxygen? Shillong, rectify your answer. You want to write something else, I know, but it came out something else. Just rectify your answer, please. Yes, very good. Kohima, Churachandpur, please answer. Children, please. Write your answers, please. How many oxygen molecules will bind to one hemoglobin? My question. It's a good question. So you keep on copying this thing, St. Joseph. Just let me know if you are not able to. Yes. Churachandpur, Kohima, please answer. Children, you need to answer, please. Yes. Waiting. Any idea? Okay, let's see. What's the story over here? See. Your hemoglobin is basically a kind of protein which carries oxygen. So it's a kind of protein that carries oxygen. How? This hemoglobin has 4 chains, 2 of which are alpha and 2 of which are beta. And each alpha has 1 Fe2 plus and each beta has 1 Fe2 plus. And in this way, each iron can bind to 1 oxygen molecule. So in total, if I am given 1 hemoglobin can bind to 4 molecules of oxygen in a reversible manner. Remember, reversible manner to form HbO8. This HbO8 is nothing but this is oxyhemoglobin. Clear? Everybody? All of you? People are revising also, remember. I can write HbO8 in a form like this also. This is equally correct. So I can use either of this. I can use this thing or I can use this thing. So what is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is a protein that carries what? That carries alpha, beta bound to oxygen. And the carrier would be what? The carrier would be Fe2 plus. Clear? Yes. Getting it? Everybody? So in this way, you are going to have the transport of oxygen. So you're transporting oxygen in which form? You're transporting oxygen, number 1 in plasma, dissolved in plasma, and number 2 in the form of oxyhemoglobin. Oxygen bound to hemoglobin is called as oxyhemoglobin. Clear with the idea? I'm waiting, children. Please answer so that I can move ahead. If not, let me know. I will explain again. Please let me know if the idea is clear, if the concept is clear. I'm on hold. I'm keeping this thing on hold. Yes. Shillong, very good. Yes, tell me, St. Joseph, did you understand this thing now? There are many transportations. See, you can use different means of transport. You can either use a bus for transport or you can just walk to a place. The same way. Either it will dissolve in plasma or it will be using a bus called as hemoglobin to get its transport done. Okay? Do you understand, Chula Chandpur? Okay, fine. Kohima, where are you lost, children? You seem to be a bit... Okay, please answer my questions. How would I understand if you're getting or not? Yes. Very good, St. Joseph. Yes, Kohima children, please let me know if you want any clarification, any kind of ideas, any kind of doubts. Tell me. Are we connected, Kohima? Kohima, are we connected? Please let me know. Do you have any doubts? Any kind of issues? Any kind of problems? If you're not connected, you can talk to me on the group also. If you're not connected, you can talk to me on group also. Waiting. Okay, no issues. Thank you so much. Okay. So this is for all the centers. If you are not connected, you somewhat feel that the Wi-Fi system is not working or you are having any problem, any kind of things that are going wrong, you can just let me know on the WhatsApp group also using your own personal connections, if you have mobile. Okay, otherwise talk to your coordinator for that. Okay, so I'm proceeding ahead. I'm proceeding with the next transport of carbon dioxide. But before proceeding to transport of carbon dioxide, we need to understand one simple thing. Okay, Saint Joseph, let me know one thing, that this is like at your place, like you call your female teachers also sir. Because yesterday also class 12 was there and the whole time they were calling me sir. Is it like this is something by mistake, or you people actually call sir? Is it? You don't use miss or ma'am? Just let me know. It might be a mistake also. But yesterday in 12th class, the whole 2 hours they kept on calling me sir. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Yes, this is the beginning. Okay, this is the beginning of the topic. Okay, fine. So we will have this thing. You will be updated with videos. Your coordinator will show you some videos, give you some links. You can refer to those links that will connect to the beginning of this class. Okay? Just let me know in case you have any problem with those videos. Okay. So this is a graph which you must be seeing in your textbook. Okay, whatever text the textbook you are following. So this is a graph you are going to see in your books. Now, what is this shape of the graph? What is this graph called? Who's going to answer me this thing? Quickly, who's going to answer me? Symmetry thing is always a problem for me. Yes. What is this graph called as? Anybody? This is said to be a sigmoid graph. Now this is a graph which is going to tell you, this is basically a graph set called as oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve. Be very typical about this topic. Just let me know if you don't understand anything. Okay, oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve. And this is a curve which is basically going to tell you about the binding affinity of hemoglobin with oxygen. Let's see. Oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve. And this is the curve which is going to show you some important details into how oxygen is going to bind to the hemoglobin. Now, on this axis, I am going to plot the percentage of oxygen bound to hemoglobin, or I could say percentage of hemoglobin saturated with oxygen. Same thing. When it is bound to hemoglobin, it is saturated with oxygen. Okay. And this axis, I will be marking partial pressure of oxygen in mmHg. Okay, mmHg is the barometric pressure unit. You must be studying these things in physics and chemistry as well, where teachers must be telling you about the partial pressure of gases. So PO2 indicates the partial pressure of oxygen in a mixture of gases that you are inhaling. Okay. Now, what is the story over here? As you are increasing the levels of oxygen. Okay, let's think this thing. As you are increasing the levels of oxygen, what is happening? The percentage saturation, I need to draw this curve once again. I'm not satisfied with this thing. Yes. I will give a good slope to this graph. Let me see how I'm able to draw this. Yes, it's better. So as you are increasing the oxygen concentration, what you can see over here, the binding of hemoglobin to oxygen also increases. Okay. The binding of oxygen to hemoglobin will increase as you are increasing the oxygen concentration. Let's take an example. You must be getting modules over there. You must be getting some sheets over there from Avanti, from ALS. Are you? Are you getting from from modules over there? Physics module, chemistry module, bio module. Are you getting? Tell me yes or no. Are you getting some modules over there? No? You're not getting modules? Okay, let me find out. Okay. Okay, fine. Let me find out. Now suppose, let us take another example. Now suppose there is a class of 100 students. Okay, we are into a class of 100 students, and those 100 students, there's somebody's birthday. Okay. So what do you do on birthday? Do you distribute chocolates, toffees? Yes or no? You must be, obviously, or you were distributing when we were children. So what we'll do is that we will take 100 toffees, isn't it? Or 100 chocolates for 100 students. That should be the perfect saturation level. But what if I don't know how many students are there in the class and I carry a bag of only 50 chocolates? Or I carry with myself only 20 chocolates. So what would happen? In a class of 100 students, only 20 children will be able to get the chocolates. So the saturation would be what? 20%, isn't it? Rest 80 would be shouting, give me more, give me chocolate, isn't it? But I don't have chocolates for them because I carried only 20 chocolates with me. So what I will do, I will rush to a shop and get more chocolates. Now also I don't know how many children are there who don't have chocolates. I will just carry with me again 30 chocolates. I will ask the shopkeeper that please give me 30 chocolates. They will be giving me 30. Again I will be going back to my class and distributing 30 chocolates. So now 20 earlier, 30 now, that is 50 students would be having the chocolates. So the saturation would be how much? The saturation would be 50%. Now again, there are people who are not got, obviously, again, I will be rushing to shop without counting the number of heads. I will be rushing to shop. I will again buy chocolates. Now again, I am getting 30 chocolates, for example. Again, I am coming back and giving that 30 to my classmates. Giving 20, 30, again 30 means 80. That means 80% of my friends, they have chocolates, or 80% of my friends, they are saturated with chocolates. They have that chocolate, they don't need now. If they are honest. Again, there will be 20 more who are left. So again, I need to go back and get 20 more chocolates to make all my friends equal, to distribute them chocolates equally. And finally, with that last 20, my level of saturation would be how much? 100%. So this is the same case, what is going to happen over here also. As you are increasing the oxygen level, can you see the sticks? As you are increasing the oxygen level, the percentage of hemoglobin saturated with oxygen is a toffee, the chocolate, and HB is the student. So when I start to increase oxygen level gradually, my classmates, that is hemoglobin, they start to receive the oxygen and start to get saturated. So the curve is moving forward. The curve is moving upward. I'm increasing the oxygen, more saturation, more saturation, more saturation. So at a particular point, there would be 100% saturation. Obviously, that point would be what? When there would be many chocolates available. So if you are taking example of oxygen, where will be the least oxygen available in your body and where will be the highest oxygen level available in your body? Both the answer. First answer me least. Least O2 is available at what area? Which area? Less of PO2 is available in which area? Quick, fast. What is the area? Which is the area of your body having less of partial pressure of oxygen? Any idea? Shillong, Chuachampur, St. Joseph, Kohima? Which is the area having least oxygen? Is it tissues? Since tissues are undergoing metabolism, so if metabolism is going on, they will be requiring more oxygen, isn't it? They will require more oxygen. More oxygen requirement means more consumption. And that gives you an idea that yes, they are having more of consumption means less of supply. Now, highest O2, more PO2 will be available at what part? This is at alveoli. That the total story means that highest saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen will be at alveoli and will be at tissues. Clear? Yes? No? Tell me something. I'm waiting for your reply. Churachampur, St. Joseph, Shillong. Clear? Not clear? Kohima? Yes. Very good. What about other centers? Yes. St. Joseph, are you clear with the idea? Very good. Very nice. Thank you so much, all of you. Very good. This is something what we think to be difficult. Okay, this is something what we think to be difficult, but see, this was so easy. So if you are taking 20 chocolates in a class of 100 students, you are just making 20% saturation. If you are taking 100 chocolates, you are going to make 100% saturation. So chocolates are oxygen and students are hemoglobin. Just make this a story, you will understand everything. Now what if there is a particular thing called as carbon dioxide and you have copied this? Everybody? Have you copied this? Let me know, please. Did you copy this? Okay, nice. St. Joseph, Kohima, Churachandpur. Very good, Shillong. Okay, let me know if you have copied this. Okay, very nice. Keep it up. Very good. So this is what is called as oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve. So can I say this thing, just correct me if I am wrong, can I say this thing at this point HbO2 dissociation will be more. Dissociation means, I told you that hemoglobin binds to oxygen in a reversible manner. See, this arrow is reversible. Can you see this arrow? This particular arrow. This is reversible arrow. Isn't it? So obviously, if hemoglobin binds to oxygen to form HbO8, it needs to give back hemoglobin plus oxygen. Isn't it? This is what is transport story. So this would be the part where you are thinking about alveoli. In alveoli, this is going to happen. But when you are moving back, this is what is a carry form. But in tissues, what I need to have is that in my tissues, this should be happening. Isn't it? This should happen at tissues. Why? Because my tissues, they need oxygen. Why? Because tissues need oxygen. And this whole story was built up to make oxygen availability to the tissues, so that the oxygen can be transported from which section? From the alveoli to the tissues. So the whole story was built up for this thing, that my oxygen has to be transported from my alveoli to my tissues. isn't it? Okay. Now you can take an example that you forgot your lunch box. You forgot to bring your lunch box to your school. Okay. And you have one more friend coming to the same way that he has to cross your home on his way. So you would be calling him and telling that please get my lunchbox from my mother and get me that to school. So let's see one more story. This would be your friend and this would be your lunchbox. So your friend is carrying this lunchbox now. He or she is carrying your lunchbox. He reaches the school. This is your friend with his lunchbox, with your lunchbox. He reaches school, and now what would you expect? What would you expect? If this is your lunchbox, what would you expect? Yes, tell me. This should be given to you. Isn't it? Same thing going over here also. That is, if this is hemoglobin, this is oxygen, this is your lunch, this is your friend, they associate together, they reach school, this is your tissue, is your school, they reach school and your friend hands over your lunchbox to you. That is, this gives your lunchbox to you. So you are what? You are tissues getting the lunchbox. Clear? Getting the idea? Any problem? Shillong, Churachandpur, keep on telling me if you have any problem. Just let me know. Churachandpur, Shillong, St. Joseph, Kohima. Clear? Clear with the idea? Okay, fine. Answer please. Shillong can just give me a thumbs up if the idea is clear. They can just give me a thumbs up. Okay. St. Joseph, the idea is clear? Okay, very good. Very good. Keep it up. All of you. Nice, clear? No issues with anybody. Churachandpur, you don't answer me if the issue is clear or not, the story is clear or not. So let's come back to the, again. So, HbO2 is what? HbO2 is your friend. I named your friend HbO2 by mistake. He is HbO8. So, HbO8 dissociation will be more at tissues. Why? Because O8 is your lunchbox and Hb is your friend. So, your friend will dissociate from the lunchbox and he will hand over the lunchbox to you, which is tissues over here. Clear? Since you need the lunchbox, it is your lunchbox. Now, what is going to happen over here? Alveoli? Yes. What is going to happen over here? Anybody? This is your home, isn't it? You forgot your lunchbox. So, this section would be HbO8 association will be high. Remember, alveoli was your home in the story. This is a story. This was your home. This was you. Okay, that means tissues is you. HbO8, Hb is your friend. And O2 is the lunch. Okay, so you are getting the lunch, you are getting the lunch. U means what? U means tissues. So over here there is association. Your friend associates with the lunchbox and over here is dissociation. Your friend dissociates from the lunchbox. So association of HbO8 will be more at where? More at alveoli, that happens to be your home. Isn't it? So at your home, what is going to happen? This is the story of your school. So at your home, what is going to happen? At your home, you are going to have more of HbO8 association. That is, oxygen will bind to hemoglobin. Where? At alveoli. Because alveoli is your home where you have left your lunchbox. And HbO8 dissociation will be more at tissues. Why? Because at tissues, it is you who is searching for the lunchbox, who is asking your friend to give back the lunchbox. Clear? The story must be clear. Now there is one more person in the whole story who is trying to manipulate this binding association dissociation. So what is the inference? Let me write down the inference from this whole story. Quickly we will write down. So what is happening at alveoli? PO2 is high, number one. Number two, hemoglobin binds with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin, that is HbO8. That is, at higher PO2, hemoglobin associates more. Obviously, association and dissociation are the two faces of the same coin. If it associates more, obviously it would dissociate less. So, as Hb associates more or dissociates less with oxygen. Therefore, at alveoli, more HbO8 will form, or association of hemoglobin with oxygen will be more. So this is the story taking place at alveoli. Clear? Alveoli happens to be your home in the whole story I made up over here. Yes. Any problem? Anybody? Shillong, Kohima, Chuachandpur, St. Joseph. Let me know if any problem. Are you getting stuck somewhere? Yes, no? Tell me children, yes, Shillong, very good. Okay, fine. The story is clear. Now this binding is going to get affected by, so obviously at tissues you can make up this story on your own now. What is going to happen at tissues, you can make it. Just opposite things will happen. What would happen at tissues? Let me use this paper, this flowchart only. Okay, let's see at tissues. At tissues, PO2 is going to be less. What would happen? Can you see the differences? It's so very, very opposite. you find the differences? You have to copy everything. I'm at advantage at this thing, but you have to copy everything. Yes. Can you see the exact difference in the way the oxygen is released at tissues? Exact difference, just opposite case. Yes, St. Joseph, Shillong, Kohima, Churachandpur. Are we clear up to this? Tell me, children, please. Very good, Shillong. Yes. What about you, Kohima? St. Joseph? Yes. Churachandpur. So, St. Joseph, like you are finding this to be easy? It's not that difficult. Okay, just see the previous videos, ask your coordinator. He will make you available the previous video links also. So you can easily go ahead, go through all the chapter. This is the second chapter I'm taking. We're not very high on speed. We're just moving ahead with gradual understanding. Okay, we need to understand first, and then we will cover up covering topic is secondary. Understanding things are primary. Okay, so you need to understand everything, and let's see how we are going to cover the rest of the syllabus. Okay, fine. So this is the basic storyline over here. Done? Now, we will have certain factors affecting this binding, this association, dissociation. Let's write down. Just let me know if you have copied the previous slide. So factors affecting HbO8 binding means how is the formation of hemoglobin and oxyhemoglobin taking place, that would be affected by levels of CO2, levels of H plus ion concentration and temperature. Let's see how. This HbO8 please. So if the levels of PCO2, that is the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, is very high, hemoglobin will bind less to oxygen. If the pH is very high, low, that is H plus higher, the lower is the pH. You must be aware about that. pH is defined as the negative log of hydrogen ion concentration. So H plus, higher is the H plus, lesser will be the binding. Higher the temperature, lesser will be the binding. But binding will be more at all these conditions when reversed. More binding if these conditions are reversed. Okay. Clear? Did you copy this? Everybody? Okay, let's see one more story. Done? Copied? Everybody done? Clear? Clear with the idea? Just give me a thumbs up, Shillong, if you are clear. St. Joseph, let me know. Kohima, let me know, please. Churachandpur, let me know if this is clear. Yes, Shillong? Okay. Now let's, okay, Shillong, give me a thumbs up if you are clear. Everybody, Shillong Center. Yes. Am I in the correct class? Okay, I cannot see thumbs up. Okay, I can see one thumbs up. That means only that child is understanding or what? Huh? Is it? Everybody is getting at all the centers, not only Shillong but all the centers. Okay, nice. Okay, now let us make a story. Let us listen to a story now. This is tissues. This is blood. This is hemoglobin bound to oxygen. This is alveoli with very high partial pressure of oxygen. This is tissues with very high level of carbon dioxide. Clear? Just understand this concept. Why this is happening. You'll understand, try and understand this thing. Why is it happening so? Okay. See, now let's have some twist in the story. We'll name these groups. Okay, tissues are Shillong. This is me. Okay. Let's take this to be Kohima. And this would be obviously Kohima again. Because oxygen is Kohima. And this alveoli will be Chuachandpur. And let's take this CO2 would be St. Joseph. Clear? So I am also having a role over here. So these are the particular things that are going to participate. Now, Shillong is tissue. Shillong is doing metabolism. They are doing metabolism. So the end product of metabolism is what? CO2 plus water plus energy. Isn't it? When you are doing metabolism, you produce a lot of carbon dioxide. Means you have lots of St. Joseph. You have lots of St. Joseph. St. Joseph is present over here. Now, I am coming with Kohima. Obviously, because I am hemoglobin, I need to have Kohima bound with me. I am coming with Kohima towards, obviously, the tissue. I am passing through the tissues along with Kohima with me. Okay. Now, there is high level of CO2. Everybody try and understand. There is high level of CO2 over here. What should I do? Should I give this oxygen to Shillong and take away St. Joseph from it? Yes or no? Okay, let's see once again. Tissues are Shillong. Carbon dioxide is St. Joseph. I am hemoglobin. Kohima is oxygen. Chuachandpur is alveoli. And Kohima again is oxygen over here. Now, the first part of the story is that Shillong is performing metabolism. Okay, metabolism, obviously you know what is metabolism. That is breaking and making of bonds and all those things. So Shillong is performing metabolism. The end product of metabolism is always carbon dioxide. So obviously Shillong will be high on carbon dioxide because it is performing metabolism. What? It is performing metabolism. So because of this metabolism, they are having very high amount of CO2. First part of the story over. Second part. I'm over here, I am oxyhemoglobin, I'm very happy with Kohima, I'm just having good friendship, me and Kohima, we are coming hand in hand. Okay, we're just moving the blood together. So this is me, hemoglobin, this is Kohima. Okay, now what I see is that tissues, they are high on carbon dioxide. When I'm passing through this area, what I observe that, oh, this is tissues and this tissue is high on carbon dioxide. So what I should do? Should I give this oxygen to tissues, that is Kohima to tissues, and take away St. Joseph? Everybody. Shall I do that or shall I move ahead as such? Let it happen. Let Shillong be high on St. Joseph. Shall I do it? What do you think? What should be the logical thing? If I am high on oxygen, and obviously tissues are shouting, like Shillong is shouting, give me oxygen, because it is high on CO2. So Shillong wants oxygen, Shillong wants Kohima. Tell me, what should I do? Everybody, what should be logically done? Quickly. Yes, I have an answer from Shillong. Very good, Shillong. Chuachandpur, Kohima, St. Joseph. Did you understand the scenario over here? Yes. Do you understand the things going on over here? Yes, logically speaking, I should give back. I should give oxygen to the... Why? Because this is in deprivation of oxygen. Yes. What I should do is that I should give this oxygen, that is Kohima, to tissues and take away St. Joseph from it, and I will become what? I will become HbCO2. So this is what is happening over here. This is what is happening. Okay, this is what is happening. I will bind to St. Joseph now. This is what? This is St. Joseph's. Yes, I can explain very much. I can very much explain it that way also. So this is me. I will be taking away the particular molecule of CO2 which is higher at this position, and I will make available the oxygen to this tissue. This is what hemoglobin is supposed to do. That is the role of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin will carry away all the carbon dioxide which is formed at tissues and at the same time transport oxygen to the tissues. You just remove the names, you will have a simple story. Is it Shillong? You just remove, don't write the names over there, that all those things in magenta, don't write all those things. You will have the simple story. Okay. So the whole part of the thing is that, whole main, what is basically definable over here is that when there is high level of carbon dioxide, when there is more of carbon dioxide, what you have is, you have, see, when there is more of carbon dioxide, what you have is oxyhemoglobin binding less. This is what is happening. Binding less means dissociating more. So when there is more of carbon dioxide, what is happening? You are actually breaking down oxyhemoglobin. See, this is HbO8 binding less. Binding less means it has to dissociate and supply the oxygen to the tissues. Clear? Everybody? Let's come to this section. So obviously this CO2 will be transported. We all know this is transported to what part? Transported to alveoli. Now, what is alveoli having? Alveoli is actually having more of oxygen. So if more of oxygen is there, that means what would happen if more of oxygen, just removing Kohima from here, just I need to write something. If there is more of oxygen here, that obviously means less of carbon dioxide, is it? So at less of carbon dioxide, what is happening? What is happening less of carbon dioxide? If there is less of carbon dioxide, the CO2 would be given and again oxygen will be binding. This is a whole cycle. So if CO2 levels are lower, what would happen at this section? You are getting what? You are getting this thing. If CO2 levels are lower, you are getting this binding. Let's remove this thing. Just remove the names over here. Okay. All the names. You will get the simple concept. Okay. So I will bind more to oxygen, or hemoglobin will bind more to oxygen when there is what? When there is low carbon dioxide, and it will bind less to oxygen when there is more of carbon dioxide. So less CO2 means more binding of HbO8, and more CO2 means less binding of HbO8. This all has been made in a way that you are actually getting enough oxygen to your tissues. So hemoglobin binds to both. We are going to do this topic after a small break. Hemoglobin binds to both oxygen as well as carbon dioxide. But the binding is different. How it is different? That is, when the carbon dioxide is high, more carbon dioxide, hemoglobin will bind less to oxygen and more to CO2. When CO2 is low, hemoglobin will bind more to oxygen and less to carbon dioxide. So let's write a Now he is not clear with the idea. It's clear? So your book actually says only one simple line, that is hemoglobin binding efficiency with oxygen is affected by levels of carbon dioxide, H plus and temperature, but they did not give you a reason. So this is the reason why it is binding less, because it has to make sure that oxygen is dissociating from hemoglobin and is getting transported to the tissues. So unless and until you break oxygen and hemoglobin bond, you are not able to transport the oxygen to the tissues. You need to break the bond and transport the oxygen to the tissues, isn't it? But if there is very high amount of oxygen, what hemoglobin is going to do? Hemoglobin will bind to oxygen. Okay. But if there is very less level of oxygen or high level of CO2, it will give away oxygen. So it's just because how your body is supposedly happening. Everything is happening according to the requirements of your body. If you are having very high level of CO2, obviously oxygen will dissociate more from hemoglobin, because your tissues, they need oxygen for metabolism. But if your tissues are normal, they are very, very normal with the metabolism process, what you will be doing is that you will just carrying away oxygen. That means hemoglobin will carry away oxygen. Just let me know if the things are clear, all the centers. Shillong, Churachandpur, Kohima, St. Joseph. Okay, Senapati, good evening. Where were you till now? You are 1 hour late. Okay, no problem. Done? Clear, St. Joseph? Kohima? Please let me know if it is clear. We'll have a small break. Okay. So let us take a small break. We'll reassemble at 5:15. Okay. No issues, Senapati? No problem. Just take a small break, 5 minutes. We'll back after 5 minutes break. 5:15. Okay, children, back from the break. Yes. Let's resume. Yes. Shall we? Okay, fine. So, we are now going to start with transport of carbon dioxide. This was all about transport of oxygen. Lengthy topic, yes, I know. But transport of carbon dioxide is yet to be done. Let's quickly see the transport of carbon dioxide. So, transport of carbon dioxide, unlike oxygen, is done by 3 modes. First, just like CO2, dissolved in plasma, just like oxygen. This is also dissolved, carried in the form of dissolved in plasma. And we have the other form as in form of carb, amino, hemoglobin. And the next is as bicarbonate ion, that is HCO3 minus. Let's see. 7% of the plasma, 7% of the CO2 is transported, dissolved in plasma. 23% in the form of carb, amino, hemoglobin. And the remaining 70%, that is the highest of all, is transported in the form of bicarbonate ions. Okay. So, we very well understand why the CO2 solubility is more in plasma compared to oxygen, because just like any other fluid, blood also transports or dissolves more of carbon dioxide. You must be aware that water dissolves more carbon dioxide compared to oxygen. Similar is the case with our blood also. Our blood will always dissolve more of carbon dioxide compared to oxygen. When you talk about carb-amino-hemoglobin, the same scenario will be repeated. Carb-amino-hemoglobin is nothing but carb-amino-hemoglobin is the association of hemoglobin with CO2. This is carb-amino-hemoglobin. So when hemoglobin binds to carbon dioxide, this is called as carb-amino-hemoglobins. This thing. This association is carb-amino-hemoglobin. Okay. So when hemoglobin binds to carbon dioxide, they form carb-amino-hemoglobin. When they bind to oxygen, they form oxyhemoglobin. Clear? But have this idea that hemoglobin will either bind to CO2 or to oxygen, but never to both of them at the same time. So it's like they will take a time to bind to each of them, not at a time. Okay. So as a bicarbonate ion, that means we need to explain this section. So do you have any doubts in dissolved with plasma and carb-amino-hemoglobin? Any of the centers? Tell me. Since Senapati has joined just now, they can also let us know if there is any problem. Senapati, Shillong, St. Joseph, Kohima, Chulachampur. Any problem? Apart from bicarbonate ion, do you have any problem? No? Yes? I guess don't have any problems. Okay. Let us explain the third part. As bicarbonate ion, that is in the form of SU3 minus. Now, this is my tissue. And is high on carbon dioxide. So we'll be doing this in next chapter, upcoming chapter. This is I'm making one RBC, red blood cell. Next chapter will be about this thing only, the structure of RBC and body fluids and transport and all those things. Now this is RBC, it has biconcave nature, biconcave structure. Now what is going to happen, this RBC, into this RBC, this high level of CO2 is going to diffuse. This enter into RBC, binds with already present water in a reversible manner. I'm just putting a star mark over here. Just let me write a short form CA. This is CA. CA stands for carbonic anhydrase. Now this is an enzyme. Carbonic anhydrase happens to be an enzyme which converts CO2 and water into H2CO3. This H2CO3 is carbonic acid. I will be writing over here only. This H2CO3 is carbonic acid. This H2CO3 is formed in a reversible manner, which again dissociates to form H plus and SCO3 minus. Is it clear, everybody? The whole reaction section is clear to one and all? What is happening over here? The tissues, they are having high level of carbon dioxide. This part. This carbon dioxide diffuses into the RBC, binds with water in presence of carbonic anhydrase, forms carbonic acid in a reversible manner, and then dissociates into, obviously in a reversible manner, into H plus and SCO3 minus. So this is the transport of, what is this? This is the transport of CO2 from tissues to alveoli. So when it is getting transported to alveoli, we need to carry this in this form. Which form? In the form of bicarbonate ion. Clear? So from tissues to alveoli, what is happening? The forward reaction is taking place. Can you see this forward reaction mark? Can you see this? Forward reaction. Forward reaction, formation of H2CO3. Forward reaction, formation of H plus SCO3 minus. When I am carrying CO2 from tissues to alveoli. Now, what is going to happen at alveoli? At alveoli, the whole reaction will run into at alveoli, what is going to happen? I am going to run a backward reaction. How? HCO3 minus and H plus are going to bind together to form H2CO3. H2CO3 is going to dissociate into CO2 plus water, and this CO2 would be released at alveoli. So what happens at alveoli? We have the backward reaction. And when you are running from tissues to alveoli, what you are having is, you are having over here is forward reaction. So this is the transport in the form of bicarbonate ion. Simple and easy. Yes. Clear with everybody? This carbonic anhydrase has an importance, has a very great importance in this way that it is the fastest enzyme known. It's the fastest enzyme that is known. Clear to everybody? Please let me know if it is. Yes. Shillong, are we clear? St. Joseph, Senapati, Kohima, Chuachandpur, Shillong, all the centers. Am I clear? Please let me know. Okay, fine. Very good. Okay, now you can understand and correlate that why at higher level of CO2 there is more of H+. Can you correlate now? You can actually. Just now we did a particular reaction. See. Just now we did this thing, isn't it? See this thing. At high level of partial pressure of carbon dioxide, I showed you that there is more of H+. Isn't it? Now you will be able to correlate very nicely that why at higher level of CO2 we have more of H+. Because CO2 finally forms first carbonic anhydrase, carbonic acid, and breaks into H++ at CO3-. So obviously the higher is the CO2, the more will be H+. A direct correlation. Clear with the idea? Everybody, each and everybody in the class, are you clear? Just let me know please. Shillong, Chuachandpur, Kohima, Senapati, St. Joseph. Senapati, are you connected? Are we connected, Senapati? Please let me know. Kohima, Chuachandpur, please let me know if the things are clear. I will proceed. I'm waiting for your answer. Copied, everybody? Copied this thing? All of you, did you copy? Okay, fine. So I'm proceeding to the next part, which tells you about regulation of breathing, how the breathing process is regulated. So you have basically two parts under this regulation mechanism. The first part is said to be the part which is, you can say it to be nervous control, or your nervous system, how does it control? And the second part is chemical control. Now your nervous control is performed by two parts in your brain. You have two basic parts in your brain which perform this neural control or nervous control. One is medulla oblongata, you must have heard about this. And the other is pons. Now chemical control, let's see. Chemical control is basically, how many of you have heard about aorta? The largest artery which takes away blood from the heart, aorta. So this is aorta. This aorta has certain receptors. This is carotid artery. Carotid artery is the artery supplying blood to brain. And this is aortic arc, a part of aorta. And these pink structures are nothing. These all pink structures are nothing, but they are the chemoreceptors. Chemoreceptors means these are typical receptors that can sense levels of carbon dioxide, H plus and oxygen in blood. So if you need to sense the levels of carbon dioxide, H plus and oxygen in blood, they are said to be what? They are said to be chemoreceptors. And where are chemoreceptors? Chemoreceptors are on special structures called as carotid artery and aortic arc. And where is this carotid artery and aortic arc? This is present on aorta. Clear? Everybody? So we all know that aorta carries pure blood. All of us know. Pure blood means, if you refer to the previous section, previous classes, we talked about pure blood when the partial pressure of oxygen was 95 mmHg. Remember? We did that table in the second class. So this oxygen level has a particular pressure, fixed pressure, to be called as pure blood. Fine? Okay. Oh. Fine? Clear? Now what if the levels of oxygen are low and CO2 is high? Let's see. This medulla oblongata has two regions. This medulla oblongata has two regions. What are they? First is called as, the color is not visible I guess. The first region is called as inspiratory center. And the other is said to be expiratory center. As the name suggests, inspiratory center controls rate of inspiration, that is how much oxygen you are going to, air you are going to take, and expiratory center similarly controls rate of expiration. Pons has respiratory rhythm center. Or called as pneumotactic center. Clear with the idea? Everybody? So you have pneumotactic center in the pons, which regulates the rate of respiration, respiratory rhythm center. Now if, let's take a situation, we'll take a different colored pen. I'm taking this maroon now, brown or maroon, whatever it is, to explain the... Now, if suppose the rate of the oxygen level is low in pure blood, that is, aorta has less of oxygen and more of CO2. What would happen? The pathway will follow like this. This chemoreceptors, they are going to have this chemoreceptors over there. These chemoreceptors are going to respond to pneumotactic center first, pathway. And this pneumotactic center will simultaneously send signals to both the centers, that is the inspiratory center and the expiratory center, pathway 2. So there will be a total marking of pathway in a way that chemoreceptors send the signals that yes, CO2 level is low, we need to increase the rate of respiration. So this will be sent to pneumotactic center. The pneumotactic center will tell inspiratory center that yes, increase the rate of inspiration, and to expiratory center that yes, increase the rate of expiration as well. So in this way, the rate of inspiration and expiration will increase, and obviously extra CO2 will be flushed out from the system, and more oxygen, fresh oxygen will be into the system. A similar thing, this is what will happen when you are running. That is, when you are running, you are having more metabolism, that means more of carbon dioxide. So in this way, your rate of respiration increases when you are running. You must have observed this thing. This is totally under the control of chemoreceptor number 1, number 2 pneumotactic center, and pneumotactic center controls the medullas, inspiratory and expiratory center. So in this way, the whole scenario is set. This was while you are running. That is to increase the rate of respiration. Now what if the oxygen level is more than sufficient and CO2 is lower than the mark? Obviously, chemoreceptors will sense that yes, CO2 level is very, very low, oxygen level is very high. So it will again signal the pneumotactic center to decrease the rate of respiration. That is, your respiratory rhythm center will slow down the rate of respiration, that is inspiration as well as expiration, in a way that we don't need to have a higher rate of respirations, just keep it normal. That is while you are sleeping. Clear? Clear with everybody? So what is going to happen? Let's see what is going to happen. High CO2 or low oxygen. Sensed by chemoreceptors on aorta. This is low oxygen. Next, pneumotactic center, and next inspiratory and expiratory center. What increase the rate of breathing? Clear? Copy this. Copy this, please. Shillong, Churachandpur, St. Joseph, Kohima, Senapati. Clear? Clear with the idea? Yes. St. Joseph, Senapati, Kohima, Churachandpur. What about you people? Clear? Copied? Copied everybody? Now, if there is less of carbon dioxide, more of oxygen, the first case was when you are running. This is the second case, second part. So, signal to pneumotactic centers, signal to inspiratory. This is the pathway 1, pathway 2, and this decreases the rate of breathing. This is while you are sleeping. That was A section while you are running. This is B section while you are sleeping. Yes, children, done? Copied everything? Clear? Okay, fine. So I'm proceeding ahead with the respiratory disorders, the last topic from your book. Very good, everybody, keep it up. Let's see respiratory disorders. The first disorder what we have like commonly is asthma. What is asthma? We all know what is asthma. Yes, you must have seen. This is basically an allergic disorder. Where the patient has problem in breathing. Why? Because of inflammation of bronchi. So because of an allergy, what happens is there is inflammation, and because of that inflammation, the person has problem, the patient has problem in breathing. So this is more common when, let's not talk about this thing. No, there is no such possibility that both the carbon dioxide and oxygen are insufficient in blood at the same time, because obviously one of them has to be higher. If your tissues are metabolizing, you need to have a higher level of CO2 and lower level of oxygen. But if your tissues are not metabolizing, you will always have a higher level of oxygen and lower level of carbon dioxide. So at the same time, this cannot happen. Okay. Fine. So this is asthma. Number 2 is emphysema. So what is emphysema? This is more common in cigarette smokers. People who smoke cigarette. Now, what happens in those people, the cigarette smokers, is that the alveoli starts to get damaged. the alveoli starts to get damaged, and obviously the damaged alveoli has a less surface area for exchange of gases. So this will be having a less surface area exchange of gases, and this less surface area for exchange of gases is said to be that the person is suffering from emphysema. This is what is emphysema. The surface area for respiration is decreased. Third is occupational respiratory disorders. That is because of some occupation a person is following. So many times we know that people are working under very, very dusty areas. The dust exposure is very high. Like if somebody is working in an asbestos factory, the person will be affected with a disease called as asbestosis. Let me know if you're not able to copy anything. All the centers. This is said to be asbestosis. If they work in silica factory, the silica particles, they accumulate in the lungs and cause silicosis. So this is the most common diseases when you talk about occupational respiratory disorders. So this was all about your chapter. Okay, this chapter is finished from my side. We'll do some questions since we have some time left. We'll do some questions. Let us see. Let me know if you have any questions from your side first. Do you have any questions? Tell me, did you copy everything? Churachandpur, St. Joseph, Shillong, Kohima, Senapati. Clear? Very good, Shillong. Good. Keep it up. Don't go now. You're not allowed to go. We'll do some MCQs. We have to do some multiple choice questions. Okay, anybody will not go now. Okay, fine. Churachandpur, got everything, copied everything. Shall I start? If you have any question, you can ask. In the meantime, we'll start some practice. Okay, we'll show you a video, small video in the meantime.
You breathe in about 17,000 times per day. It's a process you rarely think about, but behind the scenes, a huge coordinated effort is playing out. Your vital organs, the gut, brain, bones, lungs, blood, and heart, work together to sustain your life by delivering oxygen to tissues throughout your body. Most of our cells need oxygen because it's one of the key ingredients of aerobic respiration. That's the process that produces a molecule called ATP, which our cells use to power their many incredible functions. But getting oxygen throughout our bodies is a surprisingly difficult task. Gas enters cells by diffusing in from their surroundings, and that only happens efficiently over tiny distances. So, for oxygen to reach the cells within our bodies, it needs a transportation network. This is where our 20 trillion red blood cells come in. Each one contains about 270 million oxygen-binding molecules of hemoglobin, which is what gives blood its scarlet hue. To make these cells, the body uses raw materials that become available from the food we eat. So in some ways, you could say that oxygen's journey through the body really begins in the gut. Here, in an amazing display of mechanical and chemical digestion, food gets broken down into its smallest elements, like iron, the building block of hemoglobin. Iron is carried through the cardiovascular system to the body's hematopoietic tissue. This tissue is the birthplace of red blood cells, and it can be found enclosed within our bone marrow cavities. The kidneys regulate our levels of red blood cells through the release of erythropoietin, a hormone which causes marrow to increase production. Our bodies churn out roughly 2.5 million red blood cells per second, a number equivalent to the entire population of Paris, so that oxygen that makes it to the lungs will have ample transportation. But before oxygen can even reach the lungs, the brain needs to get involved. The brainstem initiates breathing by sending a message through your nervous system, all the way to muscles of the diaphragm and ribs. This causes them to contract, thus increasing the space inside the rib cage, which allows the lungs to expand. That expansion drops your lungs' internal air pressure, making air rush in. It's tempting to think of our lungs as two big balloons, but they're actually a lot more complicated than that. Here's why. The red blood cells in the vessels within your lungs can only pick up oxygen molecules that are very close to them. If our lungs were shaped like balloons, air that was not in direct contact with the balloon's inner surface couldn't diffuse through. Luckily, our lungs' architecture ensures that very little oxygen is wasted. Their interior is divided into hundreds of millions of miniature balloon-like projections called alveoli that dramatically increase the contact area to somewhere around 100 square meters. The alveolar walls are made of extremely thin, flat cells that are surrounded by capillaries. Together, the alveolar wall and capillaries make a 2-cell thick membrane that brings blood and oxygen close enough for diffusion. These oxygen-enriched cells are then carried from the lungs through the cardiovascular network, a massive collection of blood vessels that reaches every cell in the body. If we laid this system out end to end in a straight line, the vessels would wrap around the earth several times. Propelling red blood cells through this extensive network requires a pretty powerful pump, and that's where your heart comes in. The human heart pumps an average of about 100,000 times per day, and it's the powerhouse that ultimately gets oxygen where it needs to go, completing the body's team effort. Just think, this entire complex system is built around the delivery of tiny molecules of oxygen. If just one part malfunctioned, so would we. Breathe in. Your gut, brain, bones, lungs, blood, and heart are continuing their incredible act of coordination that keeps you alive. Breathe out.
So breathe out, is it? So got some idea? Got a rough idea, I guess. That whole chapter is about what kind of different things, how the different things can happen. Okay. So let us wrap it over here only. So any kind of questions from your side? Do you want to ask any questions, children? Yes, I was supposedly going to ask some questions, but I'm running short of time. What we will do is that in the next class we will do first the question section from the bearing exchange of gases, and then I will start a new chapter, that is body fluids. Okay, that is body fluids and its circulation. The next chapter would be that in our list, and we will do some questions from this chapter. So please go back home and just go through everything, go through your books, We will have questions from all the boards. We will discuss some questions from every board, CBSE board including and state boards. We will have some MCQs and let's see how we are going to cover this chapter. Okay, so this all depends on you. You need to answer MCQs, yes. Not the subjective questions, but yes, you need to answer the MCQs when you will be asked to do so. So just let me know if you have any doubts. Apart from Shillong, none of the centers have responded. I don't know. Tell me Churachandpur. The class is clear to one and all, everybody. Is it clear? Yes, Shillong. Shillong is all clear, I guess. Okay, fine. Churachandpur. Very good. St. Joseph. Since this was your first class, don't feel lost. Ask your coordinator to give you the video links from the previous classes. You will feel linked to us. Okay, you will be feeling much linked to us. And in the next chapter, obviously, we are going to start in the next class a new chapter, so you won't be in trouble. Yes, Kohima children, Senapati joined very late. Just go through the video link once, Kohima, and let us know if there is any problem. Yes, Senapati, Kohima. Senapati, just go through the video link once and let me know if you have any problem. Are we connected, Kohima, Senapati? Okay. You can drop me a message on the group also if in case of any kind of issues. Okay. So let's wrap up the class. Okay, fine. Go back home. Some people are feeling very stressed at Shillong Center. What happened, child, at first bench? Why are you stressed? Don't be. Okay, fine. So let us meet. Okay, let us meet in the next class and start a new chapter. Please study this chapter. Be very, very regular. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Good night.